Have you ever wondered what it would be like to actually become an actor and finally watch yourself on Netflix in one of the biggest shows of all time?
Me?
Well, that is exactly what happened to Logan and I when in 2022 we starred as recurring guest stars in season 4 of Stranger Things. And with the release of season 5 just around the corner, we thought it'd be fun to take another little trip down memory lane to break down what exactly happened behind the scenes and how we approached it with our acting techniques.
Maybe I'm just missing something, but why can't Jonathan just come down here for break? Because why?
Because a lot of reasons.
Curious.
This being our first introduction to Fred, right? It's endearing because Nancy is the sweeter version, whereas you're like cutthroat. And I think that you and Nancy have a really cool contrast that allows you all to kind of pop with each other in that sense.
Okay. I don't. It just
doesn't make any sense, dude. Okay, let me sift through this mess. Nancy is the supposed love of your life. In fact, you're so smitten that you have this grand plan to go to some fancy schmancy college, AKA money pit together.
And yet, he's so nervous about this acceptance letter, he doesn't have time to visit the #1 most desired girl in Hawkins?
How did y'all film that? Did you actually say like the inserts or was it just a straight monologue?
We would get to the end of my segment and then it would be like, okay, and now some more stuff is gonna get said and move on to the next section, which for me really worked. I think the writing is great because the audience is not meant to dislike Fred or Argyle. It's not meant to be like, oh, they're bad because they're trying to break up Nancy and Jonathan. It's like, oh, wait a second. Maybe these guys are picking up on something that we're not.
You're totally right. I was listening to it thinking, I mean, Fred does have a point.
And he'll never back down from what's right, what's moral. No matter the pressure, no matter the personal cost.
That's why I love her.
That's why I love him.
Everything between us is
Perfect.
I'm still rooting for my alt.
I love that scene. He hopes that the Tigers are gonna lose because he likes the headline better and thinks it's a better story, and he's gonna dig a little bit on things that he probably shouldn't dig on.
Okay, so that was Logan's first scene as Fred, but we're going to be going back and forth so we can see the full journey of each character. And at the very end, we're gonna decide which last scene was more gruesome. But now, let's go ahead and check out my first scene as number 2. That was my whole first week, was just that creepy look. That being my first week on set just made it so easy to relax. I got all of my nerves of being in my first ever show for the first time out of the way, so that then when I got into my heavier scenes, I felt like I belonged there in a sense.
What a gift to just be able to be like, cool, first day, just gotta glare. Looks like my headline has a shot.
I'm sure that was a fun day, just having a ton of the main actors with all of these extras.
It was insane. I mean, there's like 200 extras in there. There's 10 principal cast members. You're trying to make sure that everything's organized. It's crazy the amount of work that has to go into making a fake basketball game. Okay, we've got to get a shot of these people reacting, and these people reacting, and these people reacting, and we need all the extras to be doing all of these things during all of these moments. For a scene that looks so simple on camera, I think that was one of the more complicated scenes that we did, just because it's so many moving parts. I had a blast doing it because it was the only time that I got to like actually work with like Joe Keery and Maya Hawk and Caleb and like the entire group.
stop.
There's something so difficult and so like self-tape based about like, okay, I'm sitting here and I've got a bunch of wires on, and I'm making this machine light up. You have to trick your body into thinking, I have to work this hard in order to move this light. Because if you don't, then it just becomes just the mental effort that takes in and of itself to like not fake that.
I would always tense up and flex as much of my body as possible, as though my power comes from my core. So every time you see me using my powers, I'm just flexing my abs so hard, which was honestly not the best thing in the world, because I have many photos of the blood vessels that I burst because of how much I overexerted myself.
Very good, too. Very good. Now, which brave soul would like to follow that?
I do think that I did a good job of showing like the difference in how I carry myself based off of who's in the room. When Papa's not in the room, I don't give a but as soon as he's there, now my sweet side comes out. Oh, I'm like the sweetest boy in the world, right?
11?
Me.
It was so fun to play with the mirrors. Every time you see the mirror, it's completely hollowed out, just a blank spot. And you basically have a set of photo doubles on one side and a set of main cast on the other side. So being able to see the ways that they did all of these like reflections where they're having to perfectly align their movements was a really fun way to just see movie magic in action.
Why does he waste so much time with her?
Hey, quiet.
With the orderly, how much you knew about him.
For the first little bit, all of us were like, who's one, who's one, who's one? But then I saw Jamie Campbell Bower as he was credited friendly orderly. I'm like, okay, yeah. It took a little bit to put the piece together. He was specifically one, but I'm like, they're not getting Jamie Campbell Bower to play like a co-star type of role.
Waste of time.
I do think one thing I do a great job of is showing, oh, I'm not just an asshole. Like, I actually think it's a waste of time for her to get all of this attention. And so in this messed up way, 2 has a very real conviction behind what he's doing and what he's saying, which is why it's easy to hate him. It's not like, oh, he's just being a douche. It's like he genuinely believes that she is a waste of space, a waste of time.
How does this human being justify these actions? Like, you can dislike your characters all you want, but you have to understand them.
And it's interesting because as you're talking about this, they do have one major similarity, which is obsession with greatness. Now, their obsession is in different places. Yours is journalism, 2's is his telekinetic prowess. But both of them do ultimately have that root of, I am obsessed with being great, and I'm not afraid to do what is required. With 2, I have a soft spot for him. I think he's so misunderstood. Everyone despises him for valid reason. He shouldn't be beating up little girls, right? Yeah. But he grew up in this lab, has no semblance of family, and the only person that is any sort of father figure is Papa, who frequently only rewards him for violence. And then you're surprised that he becomes violent. Like, of course, he's only been taught that violence is what gets me approval.
He's a kid that was born into a cult. He doesn't know that this is like messed up and wrong. Like, destroying people that are weaker than you is the philosophy that has been taught. And so when that's all that's on offer, of course that's what you think you're supposed to do.
I don't think anyone's gonna care about the basketball game anymore. Nancy? Earth to Nancy.
What?
I said I don't think anyone's gonna care about the game.
Yeah, no, I know.
A lot of people.
Would you be up for a field trip?
If I had money, I'd get out too.
This was the first scene I shot.
Nice. It's interesting because in some ways I see nerves in this, But it plays off because it seems like the character knows something big is about to happen.
Also, like, first time getting asked by Nancy to do an investigation. I think people forget Nancy's an actual journalist. And so, like, for someone like Fred, who's like, journalism is my life, to have that person be like, I'm about to go investigate something. Do you want to come with me? Is like, of course I do.
Now let's watch me beat the shit out of some children.
Begin.
So cool.
A choice that I really liked that I made is every other number, they like put their hand up. I decided, you know what? 2 is not good at anything other than telekinesis, but he is a fucking brutal boss at telekinesis. He does not need his hands. It's all forehead. So I liked the idea of kind of like similar to someone riding a bike without the handlebars. I'm like, I'm doing telekinesis without handlebars. I don't need hands. I'm just going to purely keep them at my side and exert all of it purely through my forehead.
I think is such a like terrifying choice when the two of you first get in that ring and Six puts his hands up and you're just like, nah. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's boss fight behavior where it's like, get out.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Obviously, we have a bunch of different like angles cut together, but they had a lot of coverage of me. Every time I did my little, I actually had someone that was thrown across the room. So it makes you feel really cool. But every time I just tilt my head, I hear a bang because they would have the stunt doubles bang into the wall. So it kind of like makes you feel like you actually have superpowers for a second there. I obviously had a stunt double for the actual hit into the mirror, but you are actually blindfolded. Like I can't see through the blindfold. And they did have the moment where I go back a couple of feet. At any moment, not knowing when I'm gonna be pulled back was a really cool experience of like, oh, I'm just gonna lift my head and then just eventually get thrown back.
Yeah, I was also gonna say that like you see too afraid. And I feel like there's a world where it's very easy to like, after he hits the wall to get up angry or to get up like, you just embarrassed me, which is a feeling we see you have later. But to have just in that little moment this thing of like, I'm not the strongest one anymore. Us as actors can get caught in the trap of like, this is an angry character. He would never be afraid. People aren't like that. Even like the angriest people you know have moments where it's like, oh man, you're really sad. But in this moment, he's scared.
Yeah.
In this moment, he made Papa proud. In this moment, he did this thing. And like to be able to find those dynamics, I think is what makes 2 a 3-dimensional character and not just rah villain.
Now we're about to get into the dark shit.
The scene that I auditioned with.
Yeah.
Most comfortable. Let's do it.
So what's our game plan?
Game plan?
Yeah. When you and Jonathan investigated for Hawkins' post, did you split up? Or
Well, first of all, you're not Jonathan.
clearly not. I'm here, present, and accounted for.
I've gone through a lot of managing editors, okay?
Ooh, somebody's testy. Curious.
You were a huge fan of the show as well, so being able to be with Nancy and have a fun scene where you're both giving each other pushback, I'm sure is also super fun.
I think you can see me, Logan, having fun in that scene because there's moments that I'm like looking at myself and being like, yeah, that's Fred, but also like, that's just Logan being like, this is so much fun. It's wonderful as a fan of the show to be able to step in and like be a part of it, but also to just have other actors on the show that you really love be that giving and understanding. It's such a gift. The thing actors do is we audition for a living, and then if you get booked on the job, that is your paid vacation to go like do something you really like. When I get on set and get the opportunity to actually do it, I am going to have as much fun as humanly possible because I don't know when the next time I'll be here is.
We would really like to check in on her.
We're basically her nanny. Nannies.
Don't I know you?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Actually, I do know you. You're Fred Benson. You killed that kid last year.
What?
That ugly scar on your face. It's from that crash.
It's just really cool, the complete tone shift where we start from this like very high energy, fun 80s comedy feel to actual like dark, creepy, foreboding energy. We are starting to see that things are about to change. It's showing some of that turning point into what the rest of the season is going to be.
For me, it's so interesting to see this moment that is like we discover this character is not who we thought he was. That I feel like there's very much this setup of like, oh, Nancy's little sidekick. Like, that'll be fun. To have that moment where it's like the audience kind of gets the reveal of like, oh no, it's this is a second Barb. We're gonna kill another one of Nancy's friends. He's haunted by some murder. What the heck is going on?
It was an accident.
An accident? Is that why you ran all the way home instead of calling us? You're a murderer is what you are. Everyone here knows it. Murderer. 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 Murderer.
You all right there?
What?
Nice. Being able to have like the blood coming out, the creepy crawlies on his face. Did they do any like makeup, or was it just he had a regular face and everything was post?
Pretty regular face. I believe the teeth were real. The voice is him. And of course,
Oh, really?
layer Jamie in later, but he had that deep, terrifying, intense presence about him that I was like, it's pretty easy to be scared when this guy is like,
Heck yeah.
I'll let you check on your friend, but just be fast, yeah?
Of course. Officer, thank you. Okay, what was that? I said act casual.
Yeah, it's just... Sorry.
I think the really cool thing is how similar the audition was to the scene, because a lot of times actors will overthink, oh, I booked the role, what can I add to it? Or even the callback situation, ooh, I got a callback, what can I add to it? When they chose you for a very specific reason. Just do what you've been doing. Yeah. Do what you've been doing until they tell you otherwise. Don't like let yourself get in your head just because maybe the stakes have risen. Let us check out the most one-note scene of my entire performance. You are weak and pathetic. I was holding back. And then you do that before everyone. Before Papa. I made her flinch so bad every single time we had that moment. And there's this fun behind the scenes where Millie's like looking at it on the monitor. I break because she always would like actually freak out after I did it. She's just like, I hate every time he does it. It always scares me.
I'd be scared too if I thought this guy was gonna headbutt me in the face.
Tell Papa we did this. We will kill you. One thing that I really love about how me and my other numbers played off of each other is the really cool contrast between like how playful the other numbers are and how seriously I'm taking it. And a lot of other bullies would be like, oh, we'll kill you. But for me, it's like, you know for a fact he's not joking.
Like, they're like, haha, how funny, we're scaring her.
Yeah.
Like, no, two means that.
Yeah.
He will actually kill her if she says anything. I really love that they show, once again, that like you are the most powerful one. That like everyone is moving her, sure, but like she's not leaving her feet until you are the one committed to it.
That whole sequence was so fun, but it's so complicated. You have like 4 guys on each pulley. So in total, probably 12 guys having to look at this tiny monitor each of them has to try to make sure that they're coordinating it at the right time. And so we had to keep our movements slow so that they could be able to easily track when we were doing it. And that's why whenever it was my turn, I like made a big effort of like going back so they could see, look guys, I'm winding my head back so that you know when I'm gonna do the push forward, since I'm the one that doesn't do hands, I just do full forehead.
What about that one? With the flag?
Yeah, I tried them twice. They were actually quite rude. I am not doing that again. I'm telling you, we've talked to everyone.
Nope, not everyone. Hi there. Hi, did you see something last night, huh? Oh, you want to tell us everything?
Nancy, come on, let's get out of here.
We can already see the difference in your mood from the last scene. You're not the like chipper, like witty bantering back and forth. You're already way more suppressed in this scene.
I want to go home.
Yeah, exactly. Which I really love because we get to really see how that one moment of reliving your trauma has completely changed the entire personality of the character, which I really like.
And I think that also just speaks to like understanding where in the story you are when you're doing the scene. Most things aren't shot chronologically. It's not like we're gonna do A, B, C. It's like, well, we have the trailer park today. We're gonna do all the stuff in the trailer park. All the stuff at the school we'll do in 2 weeks, and all this stuff we did last week.
This is why one of the best things you can do is create a written out timeline. Natalie Portman does this. And that way you're able to track not only the literal on paper arc, but also the internal emotional arc to help you know, okay, where was I emotionally at in the scene before this to make sure I'm having a proper kind of
arc.
Exactly. All right, now we're gonna go to the Shining scene that they forgot to send me. So it's funny, I had a lot of people be like, you excited for your electrocution scene? I think you're tripping. And then I went to AJ Bruno, the second AD. Could you like let me know what that's about? He calls me on my way back to the hotel. This is 2.5 pages of mostly you talking. You've not gotten this scene? No. So then I just spent the entire weekend just stress prepping as much as possible.
Last night, your sister, 11, suffered a concussion during her alone time in the Rainbow Room. Now, she claims to not have a memory of what happened. But injuries of this nature don't simply happen. Someone did this.
Like you mentioned in the other scene, you see the fear already bubbling. That then you get to later see, I put a mask on and act, I'm fine, she's lame. Yeah. Where you get to, again, see multiple different aspects of this character kind of come to life.
Someone in this room. Now, who's going to tell me what happened?
She must have fallen.
This is a character who thinks he can get away with anything. Papa loves me. If I say she fell, then he's gonna say, of course, and just like the naiveness of like, I've gotten away with everything I've ever done here. I'm sure there are a ton of people who would have played that scene being like, she must have fallen. Very serious, very like, don't fuck me on this one. To have that moment of like, haha, I'm gonna get away with it, also then gives Matthew Modine a lot to work with, because he's then looking at you being like, oh, you think I'm stupid. Okay. Yeah. You can add a new layer, a new color. Not just because, not like, I want to do something different, so let's do something different. But like, you found that.
Number 2, please step forward.
This is when I knew you were done. I was like, oh no.
Collar him.
This collar was so flimsy, it broke off almost every take. The amount of time we had to get the glue reaffixed was crazy. So there are so many times where I'm like getting electrocuted and it just pops off.
You think because you demonstrate some talent that you're somehow immune to the rules, is that it?
No, Papa.
Matthew did such a phenomenal job of adapting his performance and actually going way more ruthless on my close-up. When it was my close-up, he like was berating me. He started yelling at me. And then we cut back to his close-up and he's just like very controlled, very methodical. Because he knew that to get me where I needed to go, he needed to really ream into me.
That's the real intelligence of a really good actor like Matthew Modine. The character in the moment is being calm. But your character's perception is that I am demolishing you, even though all I'm doing is talking. But it's because of our relationship and his knowledge of how you see him that is like, this feels for two, like he's getting screamed at. So if I give him screamed at, he'll be able to react in a way that will justify what he's doing.
That's genius. I never thought of it that way.
We all see situations differently. How many times I've told the story and been like, and I started yelling at him. And it's like, all I really did in real life was like, hey, don't do that. Just to hear that story that you told about him is like, wow, that's such a smart thing to do, to not focus on like necessarily what is actually happening, but how does the person on camera see what is happening and how can I help to build that reality?
By the way, if you also have dreams of one day being on a show exactly like this, how would you like to meet and potentially perform in front of a renowned casting director, David Rappaport, the primary head of casting for iconic shows like The Summer I Turned Pretty, You, Riverdale, The Flash, Gossip Girl, Arrow, and many, many more. Well, that's exactly what the students inside of my online acting school, the Acting Lab, are getting the chance to do during our special season of madness at the end of this year. Every single month until Christmas, we're hosting a casting simulation with the very special guest, and this month's guest is David Rappaport. Every single student will be able to audition for the same couple of parts, and then myself and Logan will be shortlisting the parts live in front of everyone for a behind-the-scenes look into the casting process. Then the following weekend, David will enter the lab, meet everybody, answer all of your questions before then the finalist tapes will be shown and he will explain who he would hypothetically cast if this were a real project. The deadline for that specific casting simulation is Sunday, November 30th, and then David will be entering on the following Sunday, December 7th. But the Season of Madness will continue on after that, so we'll host another amazing special guest coming soon, which we will be announcing soon. And by the way, this is all on top of regular feedback, coaching, courses, and community that you get in the lab. This is just an amazing opportunity for actors that me and Logan wish that we had when we were just starting out. So if you are interested, all of the relevant dates are on the screen right now. You can also check out the link in the description or the pinned comment for more information. And if you join, I look forward to not only meeting you, but also helping you get to the next level of your acting career.
That the rules don't apply to you in the same way that they apply to your brothers and sisters?
No, Papa.
Then why did you attack 11?
Did she tell you that?
Are you asking the questions or am I? Did you attack 11?
If she told you that, then she's lying. Papa, please, you have to believe me. Papa, please. She's lying!
That's where the collar kept popping off.
But also killing it on pretending that you're getting electrocuted because there's nothing happening.
Because I'm like, oh, I'm being electrocuted. In my mind, I can't breathe. So I would be hyperventilating right before the take. This is where we did this series. Hyperventilating and then refusing to breathe is a pretty painful combination.
Now, should we try again? What happened?
It was an accident.
I hate that last line because what happened is I got that moment with the electrocution and then I was like, oh my God, that was like some incredible acting. Holy shit. I kind of went off. We had this whole setup and then we had to go back to the overhead and the duffers so many times after being like, dude, that was amazing. When we got to that, they were like, we want to see if we can get back to the place you were at in the previous take. So on that line, I feel like I forced it a little bit because I was trying to get back to the place that I accidentally left. It's like the cautionary reason why it's not over until wrap. Just because you hit a good moment doesn't mean, cool, I'll relax, because they will always come back to you.
I think you do awesome work. It's really cool to see the physicality.
Thank you.
I think that's such a testament for you as well, because I've described the same feeling, is that like neither of us think we are like masters of the craft of we are perfect actors. We both recognize that like there are things that we can constantly strive to get better at, and I think that's what every actor should really be doing constantly. Do the work and learn.
All right, rounding up to some death at the hands of my little friend in the background.
Good old Vecna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got my Vecna.
You ever hear the name Victor Creel? I guess you're too young.
Red, don't go in the woods!
I know.
Go into the woods! The Duffer Brothers, they would have music playing in their headphones while they were watching scenes. So I would go up to them at the start of the day and I'd be like, Matt, Ross, what's the soundtrack? There were days that it was like, oh, today it's like teen like comedies from the 80s. And I'm like, great, know how to match that. For the Forest stuff, it was like, we're doing like Friday the 13th. And I'd be like, I know exactly what you need from me because I've got that now. So often when I'm on my way back to my apartment to like do a self-tape in the middle of the day, I'll throw music in my ears that is like, this feels like the character, like the tone that I'm trying to hit, so that I can just put myself into that place tonally and then step into the scene and do the work.
And the cool thing about music is you can just let it do its thing. It bakes in a very specific feeling. It bakes in a very specific vibe that you can just let your body settle into.
And that poor girl I found this morning, same exact thing. So I'm thinking, maybe he broke out.
Victor Creel is still alive?
They locked him away in Penhurst Asylum. Yeah, as far as I know, he's still there.
The Duffer Brothers like to do things in sequence versus takes. When a director, rather than saying like, cut, reset, let's go back to one, roll everything, is the director will just be like, do it again. And so that segment between Nancy and Eddie's uncle is a like 5 or 6 sequence scene. I sat and I watched them do that scene 5 or 6 times in a row. That kind of directing is really wonderful because it gives you the opportunity to not have to like, okay, and I'm back in me and we're gonna reset. It's just like, got to the end of the scene. Great, going back, cool, right back in it.
I've learned that, but from Millie, without realizing she probably learned it from the Duffers. Now this next scene is one of the most expensive scenes they had to shoot for me.
Sorry to bother you.
Everything all right?
Not sure. She says she's still dizzy. Lights are hurting her.
Hurting who?
I'm basically recovering in the hospital ward or in the infirmary after being electrocuted by Papa. And the reason this is the most expensive scene they had for me is I wrapped this scene, no exaggeration, in 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They forgot to do this in the original filming chunk when I was in Atlanta the first time. So they actually had to fly me all the way back, put me up in a hotel for another couple of days and pay for an extra day for me on set just for this scene, which they forgot to film, which is hilarious because I'm literally out of focus the entire time, don't say any lines at all, and yet they had to do this whole rigmarole just to get me back.
Murderer. Murderer.
That scene is so easy because 90% of that is practical. I'm looking at zombies yelling at me that I'm a murderer. It's very easy to be like, yeah, that's scary. I'm gonna run away.
This is why it's so much more difficult doing self-tapes than on set, because on set you have all of the pieces and it's easier to just let everything around you affect you in a way that you can't really do alone in your bedroom.
The self-tape is the hard part. Once you're in the middle of the woods running from another actor, it's very easy to get your body to commit to that. That is horrifying.
I'm sure this was practical too.
Yep, they lit a car on fire.
And then you can just run the thought of that was my fault.
Yep.
How did they film it then when he's like crawling out with the fire? Is that CGI?
The stunt double, he crawls out with his head down, and by the time you get the first time that he looks up, the actor was far enough away from the car that like it's all happening in the background and like is safe, but it looks like he's like 2 inches away from this door. There's so much that you can do with cameras to make things look a lot more dangerous than they are, but they did such a wonderful job of keeping everybody safe on that one. It was really great.
How did they do the you fall into the grave? Was it like a jump cut from the forest, you fall on like a pad, and then a separate with the grave?
Road fell backwards onto a pad, cut to inside a studio where they would not let me, because it was a full story, my stunt double fell the entire like story onto that thing. The work that stunt people do is absolutely incredible. It is some of the most impressive stuff that I've ever seen.
This is random. That sound always gives me ASMR. Like it's actually like a really soothing sound.
Did a great job of like, especially in that first episode, being like tight and focusing on like how Eddie is feeling about it. That was the first where it's like, let's take a big zoom back. This is what this really looks like when it happens.
And I'm curious, just like the entire montage, did you film, was it like you filmed all your dialogue scenes and then you had a whole period, it was just the death montage? How many days did it take for all of those different moving parts?
Altogether, I think 4.
Oh, wow. Nice.
1 day on the road doing the like body breaking apart, 1 day doing car stuff, 1 day in the woods doing the wood stuff, and then 1 day in the studio doing the grave stuff. I hope this is helpful for other actors as they watch. I had this moment on set where I was like, did I do it good? Did I mess up? Am I not good? And I had the wonderful makeup artist, Devin, came up to me, and she very calmly was just like, if they didn't get it, you would still be over there filming it. Yeah. We are not the kind of place where we have to move on because we're out of time. They got what they were looking for. If they didn't, they would still be filming it.
And also, like, at the end of the day, a lot of times you're filming 12 hours straight. There are gonna be little things that you don't hit that if you're watching from the comfort of your home, you can pick up on, oh, they could have done that, or I could have done this, or I could have done that.
When you look back on your own work and you're like, oh, I've gotten so much better. This work isn't any good. Like, I sucked back then. At the end of the day, you're growing as a human being and as a performer.
I did a really great job of committing to every single scene. And part of this was because I felt like I had something to prove. You know, this was the first thing I'd ever booked, the first project of my entire career. And a big part of me wanted to give 175%. But this was another scene that I burst the shit out of the blood vessels in my eyes.
We are not saying you should be bursting blood vessels.
Exactly. But where I did a great job with the voice is I ran in my head the idea of he is squeezing every single part of me, almost like telekinetic strangulation in a way. So I had the scream while also like closing up my vocal cords. Constricting your vocal cords while trying to scream is not necessarily the most comfortable thing to do. Overall, I think we can safely say that Fred by far had it worse, especially considering the fact I at least could fight against Vecna.
Yeah, he had no chance.
Yeah. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Now remember to watch Stranger Things 5 when it releases this Thanksgiving and Christmas. And if you want to learn acting from Logan and I, and you want to take part in our special casting simulation with legendary casting director David Rappaport, or you just want to join the season of madness, all of the relevant dates are on the screen right now. And you can also take a look in the description or pinned comment for more details.